Hello students, in our today's lecture we will discuss next important question from the one act play A Marriage Proposal written by Anton Chekhov. The question under discussion is elements of humor in the play A Marriage Proposal. So let us discuss the answer to this question. A Marriage Proposal by Anton Chekhov is a humorous play. Means there are so many funny elements in the play. Humorous means full of funny comic elements. On the one hand, it brings out the innermost desires, hopes, and fears of its characters, and on the other, it aims at providing a rich feast of laughter for the readers. In the play, on one hand, it expresses the desires, the expectations, the fears of its characters, Lomov, Shubukov, and Natalia, and on the other hand, it brings out the laughter of the readers by presenting some comic elements in it. The exaggeration of incidents and characters in the play adds a lot of fun. The writer Anton Chekhov, he is exaggerating the incidents and characters in the play, and by doing so, he is adding to the fun. The situation, the characters, and the language are conceived humorously. So, let us discuss the funny or the humorous situation in the play, in the one act play. The situation of the play is humorous. Lomov is a 35-year-old bachelor. He is desperate to get married. He knows that no young and beautiful girl will agree to marry him, so he decides to propose to Natalia. Students, in our previous lectures, we have discussed so many times that Lomov is one of the major characters of this play, one act play. He is 35 years old, so he is uh, eager, so he is excited, so he is eager to marry. He knows that no young or beautiful girl will agree to marry him, so he decides to propose Natalia, who lives in his neighborhood. She has already passed the prime of her youth. She is also ready to marry any man. Lumov comes to propose to her, but soon they start quarreling over the ownership of the meadows. They shout at and abuse each other. The most funny part of this abuse is that the land is so useless to both of them that they can just gift it to each other. As a result of this quarrel, Lumov fails to propose to Natalia. Students, in this one act play, as we have already discussed, when Lumov comes to the house of Natalia and Shubukov to propose Natalia for marriage, they start quarreling over the petty things. They start quarreling first over the ownership of meadows. As a result of this quarrel, Lumov fails to propose to Natalia. He is driven out of the house, but as soon as Natalia comes to home, that Lumov had come to propose to comes to know that Lumov had comes to propose to her, she compels her father to bring him back. When Lumov comes, they start quarreling over the superiority of their dogs. At last, Lumov gets Natalia's hand in a state of semi consciousness. When, after their quarrel, both of them, Shubukov asks Lumov to leave their house. Then Natalia comes to know that Lumov had come to their house to propose her for marriage. Then she asks her father, she forces her father to get back Lumov to her. And when Lumov comes again, they both start quarreling again over the superiority of their dogs. At last, Lomov gets Natalia's hand in a state of semi consciousness. So, the situation is full of so many comic elements as it shows, it presents their quarrel over petty thing, over the ownership of the meadows, which are useless for both of them. Next is characters. Another source of humor in the play is its characterization. All the three characters in the play are funny. Lumov wants to marry Natalia because he has no other choice. He has already passed the marriageable age. He suffers from a number of ailments. Ailments means diseases. His nervousness while proposing excites laughter. In a fit of excitement, he cries out in a funny manner. Natalia is no less funny. She shouts at and abuses Lumov. She taunts over his poor health, yet she is happy to marry him. The character of Shubukov is equally funny. He drives Lumov out of his home, and the very next moment he welcomes him as his son in law. So, all the three characters, Lumov, Natalia, and Shubukov, they all have something funny in their characters. They use abusive language for each other. At first they use abusive language for each other, they scold each other for so many things, and at last they reconcile with each other, and Lumov proposes Natalia for marriage, and Shubukov at first he calls bad names to Lumov, and at last he welcomes him as his son-in-law. So all the three characters are full of humorous elements. Next is language. The humorous situation in the play also arises from the language used by different characters. All the characters hurl abuses at one another. Lumov calls Shubukov a land grabber. Land grabber means one who grabs the land of another person, an intriguer, conspirator, and an old rat. Shubukov in turn calls him a villain, a half baked egg, a blind puppy, a walking drugstore, etc. These funny situations and characters make us laugh. So, the language used by all these three characters is also funny, humorous. All the characters they abuse each other over different things. Lumov calls Shubukov that he's a land grabber, he's an intriguer, and he also calls him an old rat. Shubukov in turn he calls Lumov that he's a villain, a half-baked egg, a blind puppy, and a walking drugstore because he uses so many medicines. So these funny situations and characters and language make us laugh because they are full of fun, and they are full of funny and humorous elements. So students, this is our answer to today's question, in which we have discussed that the situation in the play, the characters portrayed by Anton Chekhov, and the language used by those characters in their conversation with each other, all are full of funny elements. So, tomorrow we will continue with our next lecture. Thank you. Thank you very much.